I I am laughing at this. Lomentini lit up, and here's what I'm lit up about. I just did this amazing thing today, and it just, I don't know, it's just one of another million things that God is putting in my path in my life, and just the divine intervention and the things that you just can't explain. And one of the things that I just did, I'm getting ready to put it out there, and you guys have already may have seen it by the time you watch this podcast, but it was about the podcast I did on March 19th. The day I took my life, the day God destroyed every plan and every aspect of my life, and then turned right around and hugged me and told me he loved me. He says, I got something better, and I got something new, and I got something for you that you need, and I've got your life ready for you. Will you do me a favor, Patrick? Get out of your own way. Let me take this. Let me handle this for you. Pay attention. Listen, all I need you to do is just be my child. Surrender to me, and I've got everything else for you. Wow. So as I'm listening to this, March 19th, and there's a few people out there that know what's going on. Tad, my buddy for a long, long time. The day I did what I did, I was planning on talking to him on the night that day about 4 o'clock. And then all hell broke loose, and what happened. But I'm listening to it, and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot all about that. And I had just talked to Tad earlier today about it and his advice, whether or not I should put it out there. And he's like, well, it's all part of your plan. I mean, what's the purpose? Your plan is to save lives. Your plan is to change minds. So put it out there. I mean, I've been vulnerable, and I've been very accountable and transparent on all this stuff. So it's been pretty interesting to see all of these various things kind of unfold. So as I'm taking a break between pods, I just renewed my Florida license. I finished it up because that's another thing that God's kind of leading me. He's like, I want you to be in both places. I think you can be in Tennessee and Florida. I think you can do hair in both places, and I think you can sell real estate in both places, and I think you can do Barcade effectively anywhere you want to be, and you can save lives everywhere. Because what? Unfortunately, suicide, depression, anxiety, those things that lead to suicidal ideations are everywhere. Not just limited to Tennessee, where Patrick's at in Franklin, but it's all over the country. I have a mission, and my mission is to save lives by sharing my story of suicide to salvation. And I'm currently on a daily basis living salvation. Salvation is not a destination. Salvation is a way of life, and is the best thing I could ever wish upon any of you. But God had to destroy my life. God had to take away any plans that I had. God had to humble me in order to rebuild me and to make me what I am today. Today, I'm sitting here at 55 years old, in the best shape of my life, getting ready to run the Tough Mudder. Real estate's going on, renewed my license in Florida and Tennessee. Both are in play. Hair business is doing fantastic. And there's a lot of things personally I'm still working on. It's a daily basis. It's a daily thing. I could have a house. I could have, what's amazing out there is I'm driving on my way to therapy today, and I'm contemplating the idea that I haven't really found a home yet. I need a new car soon. Need this, need that. Then I see a homeless guy pushing a cart down the street, and I'm like, I'm okay. Because I know people out there right now with a home and have a marriage, have kids, have cash in the bank, have good credit, but your lives are miserable. And you know who you are out there. I'd rather be right here where I'm at, going through what I'm going through, knowing that I live in salvation every day. I am not dead, and I have an amazing appreciation for life and every breath that I breathe. To think that back on March 19th, I took matters into my own hands. And that's where God will mess you up. I'm going to insult God in the most insultive way possible by taking my life and realizing it's not your life to take, it's his life that he gave you. And all he wanted you to do, and all he wants you to do, is to live the best life possible, to follow him. He created you in his image. I mentioned to Tad, and I mentioned to several people, this is the first time in my life I actually feel like me, finally. Not sacrificing my personality or anything about me in order to be with someone. and to feel like a man, taking responsibility and building my future on my own. There's a lot of things I want to fix. There's a lot of things I want to repair. Children, other friendships, relationships, if possible. I don't know what God has in store for me, but I'm listening. I've got my eyes open, and we shall see. But I love sharing this transparency and this accountability with you. And that was a tough one to watch. I don't know if how many of you guys watched that previous pod about the March 19th and where my mind was and what I was doing, but it was ugly. You can definitely tell that I was not Patrick. Patrick was not in the building, but he is now. And I'm excited to share that version of Patrick with the world and whatever else God has in store for me. So right now, my main focus is the Tough Mudder, which is next Saturday, the 28th. It's a 5K. I took the easy route. It's the smallest one. There's a 10K and there's a 15K. And next year, there's the toughest Mudder, which I'm excited to do. And my good man, Jed, introduced me to Rise Up Kings. And it's 4 pillars. See if I have it correct without having to look at my notes. Family, faith, I think it's backwards. Faith, family, finances. I do have to look, don't I? And fitness. Oh, I didn't have to look. I got it. The 4 pillars of life: faith, family, finances, fitness. And I don't think I have this all correct, but it's a bunch of Navy SEALs and some real tough badasses, all faith driven. And they put you through the Tough Mudder times 10. And break you down and make men out of you and refocus your life in all 4 of those pillars. And that's something I'm looking forward to. So I'm fascinated with the development that I've been able to accomplish in the last 4 months. If you guys look at it this way, I did what I did to myself in March. I was put away until June, made a commitment to myself in July. If you look at that picture I posted on Facebook and Instagram of my commitment to a no sugar diet, no alcohol, just fitness and focusing on my spirit, my mental capacity, and my physicalness, and what a change it has made. And I'm looking forward to that continued change and that continued development and to see where I'm at by this time next year. There's some things that still need to be taken care of. There's still a few legal issues, and I hope they go away, and I hope they just kind of like everybody just moves on and live the best life possible. And there's one thing I've learned about situations like this. Wow. People can be so amazingly dismissive and just so, it's hard to understand sometimes. And that's what happened to me back then. But you grow from it, and there's 7.3 billion people on this planet, and God is not going to let me down now. So I just wanted to keep you guys, it's a short pod. I just want to let you know it's a recap from what I just did. And it's just amazing all the different things that have kind of reconnected into my life in a way I never knew they would. A big shout out to my friend Jed Beal up in Utah. Always a great friend, always a guy I look forward to and excited to talk to. But now he's like a massive pillar in my life, a big piece of my life. Then introducing me to Jeff and Austin, who reminds me an awful lot of Tad. Then my friends Ray, and then I've got Charlie Engel and Brian Ferguson, and just some guys that are just amazing pieces of the puzzle of Patrick's resurrection and succession right now. Guys at work, Anthony and Terrence. I mean, just so many, surrounded by so many great people. And don't forget a lot of the great women out there as well, that have, and you know who you are. Women that are great friends of mine that have reached out and just supported in great ways. And I appreciate it. I could never pay you back in any kind of form, just appreciation and friends forever. And that's the beautiful thing about this life, is that we become so isolated and so narrow focused on things that we don't even see because we're trying to figure it all out ourselves. We're not looking to him. We're not looking to God. God, give me some grace, give me some mercy, show me what's going on. I can't do this myself. The moment I realized that I could not do it myself, I could not manage this way everything changed. And that's all he's asking for, is to surrender, be his child, Love one another. And that's the biggest one for me since March 19th and since January, has to get to that point of love, to get to that point of forgiveness, to get to that point of, I think that's one of the toughest things, one of the toughest two things I think in life. And one of them I shared earlier in a previous pod is as humans to be so dismissed, to be so unloved and just discarded. That's one. Another thing is to forgive. Oh, there was so much hate and so much, it's almost impossible, but nothing's impossible through the love of God. Nothing is impossible. But to forgive was one of the toughest things for me to do, and it's still a daily basis. But I've got nothing but love, and I wish things could be different, but they aren't, and I don't know if they ever could be. That's not up to me to decide. I've done my part. I've been punished. I punished myself. It's time to move on. I owe nobody an explanation anymore. I owe nobody an apology anymore. So at this point, guys, I don't owe anybody anything. I didn't have to put that podcast out there on March 19th, but it was my commitment to the accountability, my commitment to the transparency, my commitment to save lives so other people don't have to get to that level where I was at. That's it. So I wanted to put these two out here, and we're moving on to the next subject. We're moving on to the next chapter. Yes, Patrick committed suicide. Patrick was saved. Patrick's life was destroyed. Patrick's life has now been redeemed. Patrick's life, he lives in salvation. Yes, that's great. That's great, Patrick. Let's go. What's next? So that's where the Tough Mudder is coming in. That's where the next thing is coming in. We're going to finish out 2023 and knock ourselves out in 2024 and be the best version of ourselves and Patrick possible. That's what's going on. Next chapter, moving on, moving forward.